poker. The game of life. The wonderful game of life, the board game. The game of life, not the real game of life, but the board game of life. That's now in the Hall of Fame. In fact, the actual game of life's in the Hall of Fame too, I guess. That's a really cool one. You ride around a little car and the people in there, and you go through the whole view of life as you travel through life's journey. That's in there as of 2010. In 2011, the blanket made the Hall of Fame. The blanket, how many kids love their blanket, their blankie? And the dollhouse is in there as well. Our granddaughters love our dollhouse. That's been in the house for many years. It's a major, major source of entertainment when they come over and play. And Hot Wheels. Run around with those Hot Wheels. They're in there as well. The following year, 2012, Dominoes. Dominoes made the Hall of Fame. I always thought Dominoes was the game that Johnny Carson had on TV when he had that guy line up thousands of dominoes and he pushed one at the end. They made that huge circle all around, and it finally went to the end where they all collapsed down. I thought that was Dominoes. I never knew what they meant to. My grandkids showed me the game, and we started playing it in that little box with the train whistle, etc. Dominoes, 2012, as well as the Star Wars action figures. Oh, people love the Star Wars, and they're now in the Hall of Fame. In many, many ways, they should have been there many years earlier, I would think. Star Wars is big, and it's still big. In 2013, the rubber duck finally made it in. The rubber duck is in the Hall of Fame, as well as the game chess. For those brilliant people, remember Bobby Fischer back in the 50s and 60s, 70s, or maybe the 70s? Bobby Fischer and the big Russian counterpart with playing his chess matches around the world. Well, chess is now in the Hall of Fame. The following year, in 2014, Bubbles is in the Hall of Fame. You'll love bubbles. Making those bubbles. Little kids love to run around, catch the bubbles. There's a children's museum in Long Island in Nassau County. Has a bubble room. You go in there and you have bubbles. You can stand in the bubble, little kids do, and fill themselves inside a bubble. Bubbles will blow them, and you have the magic wand. You move around with those bubbles. Well, they're in the Hall of Fame and well deserved. And Little Green Army Men. Don't you love the Army Men? The little guys made your own war zones when you were a little kid. Well, they're now in there holding the fort down in the Rochester, New York National Toy Hall of Fame. And the Rubik's Cube. Has any one of you ever figured out how to do a Rubik's Cube? Can you do it within the certain time zone? I have not yet broken the record. It's taken me many, many years, and I'm nowhere near getting done. Can you get it done? And what's your record of getting the Rubik's Cube done? Well, someone did, because it's in the Hall of Fame. The following year, 2015, the puppet, the actual puppet, made the Hall of Fame. I went to a puppet show in Germany years ago. It was really cool. Many years later, my wife and I, going through Italy, passed by the hometown of Pinocchio and Geppetto, his father. I would think they're both proudly in the Hall of Fame as puppets. Maybe I'm wrong. The Super Soaker, I have no idea what a Super Soaker is in the Hall of Fame. It must have been a fun toy. It made the big time. And the Twister, the game Twister, which was a really good fun at kids' parties when you were a teenager. The Twister. 2016, Dungeons and Dragons was inducted. We have some nephews who loved that game when they were growing up. Dungeons and Dragons. And the Fisher-Price Little People. They're still hanging out in my house, those Fisher-Price Little People. And the Swing. Who doesn't like a swing, whether it be a swing or a tie or whatever it might be, in your backyard, at the playground? The Swing rightfully deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, and it's there as of 2016. In 2017, the game Clue. Didn't you love that game Clue as a kid? Playing that game, figuring out. I recently found some pieces of Clue, and I wonder if it's worth any money at all. With little tiny, those clues you have for Clue, somehow they fell out of a box in our basement. And the paper airplane, putting that together, flying it. Mine always crash landed within about 5 seconds. But some kids in school could really make those things zoom and fly off. They were talented. aerodynamically talented kids who probably are now engineers. And the wiffle ball. The wonderful wiffle ball. I think that's now part of pickleball. Wiffle ball we played many, many years ago and had a lot of time and fun with. Wiffle ball's there in the National Toy Hall of Fame. Will be the finalist for 2018's National Hall of Fame inductees. The following 12 toys are finalists. The finalists are the American Girl dolls, Chalk, Chutes and Ladders, Fisher-Price Corn Popper, the Magic 8 Ball, the Masters of the Universe toys, Pinball, Sled, remember the sled? The Tic-Tac-Toe game, Tickle Me Elmo, Tudor Electric Football, and Uno, the board game Uno created in 1971. And the winners for 2018 are...
Uno, Pinball, Magic 8 Ball.
All right, they're the winners, baby. Thank you very much, Vanessa.
Life is too short, we get only one turn. With luck we find beauty, but we sometimes get burned. But if you've had a true friend, or perhaps love, you've experienced the peace of heaven above.
You've been listening to The Last Walk, Remember When, with your host, Ron Baumbach. We've been discussing toys, the toys that made it to the Hall of Fame. And thanks to the strong, the National Museum of Play, we have the National Toy Hall of Fame in Rochester, New York. What toys do you like? What's your favorite one from your youth? And what toy do you think should be in the Hall of Fame that didn't make it? Maybe you can nominate it for it the next time around. I'd like to thank my granddaughter Vanessa and all those who made this show possible, such as the Toy Story theme song from the movie The Toy Story. And of course, to my good friend Paul Cusone for the wonderful song Here's the Good Friends heard throughout our show. And I'm indebted to my buddy Mike, my college roommate, from his studios in the great state of Tennessee, where he works so hard to make our show and our voice sound so much better. The book, The Last Walk on Our Block, is available on Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com. It's a Nook print and Kindle version. Until next time, have a great week. We'll see you next time on The Last Walk. Remember when.
Here's to good friends, the ones we hold dear, the ones who will tell us what we need to hear, the ones who love us, right or wrong, and to all those good friends who give you this song, and to all those good friends who give you this song.